Hey, how you doing?
Hey, hey, buddy, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. How you feeling today?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you for asking. Really appreciate you joining us here on the Allen and Aaron
It's a
Sports.
pleasure.
Oh, you're very welcome. And for those who don't know, that's Lovemore N'dou. Really glad that you're here. Pleasure to see you. And so,
I'm pleased you managed to pronounce my last name correctly.
oh, thank you. Appreciate that too, that you noticed that. But yes, I'm glad you're on board and you're here today. And I wanted to get started with how did you first get started in boxing?
I got into boxing when I was about 14. Look, I was always into sports. I was really good in soccer, but I had serious anger issues when I was growing up. So that didn't help when I was playing soccer because every time somebody played rough, I'll turn around and knock them out, then I'll get sent off. So it kept happening, and eventually one time we were playing, I knocked this kid out and I knocked him out cold, and then they got a security guard just escort me out of the field. As he was walking me out of the field, he said to me, "Kid, I don't think this is for you. You should maybe try boxing. You don't last long in the field." So I thought, I got nothing to lose. And the next day I went to a boxing gym. Then it turned out this guy was a boxing trainer himself and a fighter himself. So he started training me, and I recall, the first thing he said to me was, we really need to work on your anger, because it's not gonna help you in boxing. I said, nah, man, this is boxing, this is fighting. Why I gotta be angry to fight? But no, I was wrong, because if you look at it, boxing, it's scientific. Boxing is like playing a game of chess. You need to have a clear mind, otherwise you're gonna get beat up. So, I had to learn the hard way. He put me in sparring, and I kept getting beat up because I was so angry. And eventually I started listening to him, and I started, when I realized that each time I calmed down, I was performing well. And you know what? I'm grateful because, not only did, that change, my boxing, improve my boxing, abilities or boxing skills, but it also changed me as a person, changed me from this angry person to this calm and collected person that I am today. And you know what, growing up in South Africa then, at a time where, pretty much every kid walked around with a gun or a knife, had I not changed my attitude, I'll probably be dead today, or locked up in jail. So that's how my boxing career started.
Wow, that's a very, very good story there. But I love how you mentioned that you use anger and you found that it was kind of hurting you in a way with your boxing. Talk about how you learned that you need to calm down to be successful.
Look, I recall one of the things, he used to tell me, Lovemore, if they hit you, if you get hit, just say, tell yourself inside, okay, now he got me, it's a lucky punch. Okay, just calm down, and I realized each time, I repeated these things in my head, okay, you got me, it's a lucky punch. Okay, I would calm down and I would, I would counter punch and I would do well. So that was the only way to work around it.
Yeah, that's definitely very, very good. I hope a lot of boxers understand that you need to control not just your punching, but your emotion because they work hand in hand.
Look, it's not just in boxing, in everything you do in life. You try resolving any problems when you're angry. You just end up making more mistakes. But if you calm down, take some time off, calm down, you resolve the issue.
Yeah, that's great advice. And what are some of your boxing peers that have motivated you throughout your career?
Look, honestly, what really motivated me was, was poverty.
Yeah.
I come from a very, very poor family, and when I say poor, I mean to an extent where sometimes we'll go a day without a meal, so I needed to get out of poverty, and my only way out of poverty was through sports, but look, I would say, people like Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Robinson, I look up to fighters like that, especially someone like Muhammad Ali. He was very, he wasn't just a fighter. He was, he, you could, Muhammad Ali was even, you could say he was a political activist. So I like that about him. He was always fighting, for the Black people, fighting for his rights, fighting for everybody's rights. So he motivated me.
Yeah, definitely. You're right. Because he did a lot, not just inside the ring, outside the ring, and definitely a great ambassador. And, you fought some of the best in the sport of boxing. When you think back at it now, what are your thoughts about, man, I was in there with Mayweather, Canelo. What are your thoughts on those fighters?
Yeah, look, I didn't actually fight Mayweather, but I spent some time sparring with him.
Yeah.
I fought Canelo, I fought Coron. So, I fought some big names. Look, what can I say?
Yeah.
What can I say? I look at it and I look at Canelo currently. He's pretty much knocking everybody out, and he didn't knock me out. In fact, at no stage did he hurt me during the fight. So I have to take a bit of credit, and say, wow, obviously I did something good, even though I didn't win the fight. To go up against a great fighter like that and go the whole distance in his country, I think that's something special.
It is something very, very special. And that fight, that was early in Canelo's career, you were taking some of his best punches too. You weren't just like taking little jabs. I saw some of the fight, and you what do you think about his power and not being able to knock you out?
Look, like I said, he couldn't knock me out. And I think if you look at it, I've never been knocked out in my whole boxing career. And I think it also comes down to fitness, because I was always super fit when I came into a fight, and I think when you're super fit, you got a good chance, of withstanding any punches that are thrown at you. So he didn't hurt me. I mean, Cotto was a great puncher as well, but he never hurt me.
Yeah, that's astonishing. 64 fights without a knockdown, and people in this boxing career cannot say that. What, besides the fitness, was there anything else that helped you stay upright?
I think living a good, clean life. I've never done drugs. I've never abused alcohol. I've always lived a good, clean life, and I always took my career very seriously. I put in a lot of work in the gym. And I believe that's how everybody should be doing it. You just gotta put on all those hours and just work hard.
That's right.
Put in all those hours, the hard work.
Our work pays off, and you was able to, you're right, not fight Mayweather, but you sparred with him, and you mentioned that there was a lot of yes men. Explain that experience.
Floyd, he's a great fighter. He's one of the best we have in the world. But Floyd is a kind of guy that likes to be surrounded by a lot of yes men. Whatever Floyd says goes. And I noticed that the first time I walked into the gym, he was surrounded by all these guys. So whatever he says, they all repeat. It's like they just echo everything he says. and and the thing with Floyd is, when you're sparring with Floyd, Floyd is Floyd. He'll disrespect you. He'll call you names. And for me, I didn't appreciate that. I just felt, that's unprofessional. You don't have, to call somebody names. So I remember when I first got there, I gave Al Heyman a call, and I said, I'm not gonna put up, with the insults, and I'm happy to, assist the guy. Al told me, I know, Lamo, don't worry about it. I'll handle that. But knowing, I knew Floyd being Floyd, I knew Floyd wouldn't, listen to anybody, and I didn't think he was going to listen to a sparring partner anyway. We started sparring, but the first time we sparred, I think he pretty much told his yes man, to keep it, to keep it down. So nothing happened the first sparring session, but I kind of expected something was going to happen soon. So I thought to myself, if anything happens, I'm going to have to apply some reverse psychology. So I remember the second sparring session, he started referring to me as Jumanji.
Oh, so, wow. The movie Jumanji,
So,
for those who don't know.
Jumanji, yeah. So I turned around, I said to him, no, try Shaka Zulu. Jumanji is not from Africa. Where I come from, we beat up little girls like you. So he didn't expect that, and he kind of laughed about it. But then he said to me, yeah, you stole my beach. Now, okay, before we go ahead, are kids listening to this radio station?
No, it's not made for kids.
Okay. All right. So, but anyway, so he continued to call me names, and then I recall on one occasion, it so happened that when he called me bitch, I landed a right hand on his nose, and it started bleeding. So I then turned around and I said, any of you, ladies here go spare tampon for this little girl. She just got a period. So that was kind of funny. He even laughed himself. But look, I had a great experience working with the guy, and I respect the man. He does a lot for, not just for boxing, also for the community that nobody really talks about. I personally saw him going out, handing out money and food to people. But people never talk about that. He's a natural talent, and he works really hard in the gym. So I'm not surprised. He went on to become pound for pound one of the best in the world.
Yeah, he puts the hard work in, Mayweather, that's for sure. And a lot of boxers, not just Mayweather, are surrounded by yes men. What are some of the advice you can give people that are surrounded by too many yes men to help them?
Look, I think you really gotta be careful, who you hang around with. Some people are just there for the fame and trying to get your money. So you gotta be really careful. There's been a lot of sad endings in boxing. A lot of people end up broke, because the money goes, end up going to these yes men. So you gotta be very careful, who you choose, who you allow in your company. But for me, the best advice I can give to any boxer out there or any athlete out there is, educate yourself. Get some education. Even if you don't want to educate yourself, invest properly, because boxing is a very short, it's a short career. You're not gonna box forever, so you need to have something to fall back on. Often people ask me, what would you say is your best achievements, in life? Was it winning world titles? And I always tell people, boxing is great. Boxing will give you status, you give you money, but along the way, somebody better is gonna come along and beat you and take those titles away. Or someday you're gonna get old and retire, and somebody will take over the titles. But with education, no matter how many degrees you have, no one is ever gonna take that away from you. They remain your degrees forever. And that's why I always say, my best achievement was to educate myself.
Yeah, that's amazing that you worked in Lovemore and you built up a law firm. Tell us how you got into law. That's something that's remarkable.
Look, I was studying when I was fighting. Often when I traveled for fights, my suitcase would be packed with law books. So in between training, I'll be spending time in the hotel studying. But look, for me, law had more to do with my upbringing. I came from, I was born in South Africa, and I was born during, the apartheid era. So I witnessed a lot of atrocities, committed, against my family members and friends. I was a victim myself. There was an incident when I was about 16, where I was arrested, on trumped up charges, only because a white girl took a liking on me, at a time when, there were laws, or there was a law, or there were rules, that, a black man and a white woman can be together. So when they arrested me, the first thing is they wanted to hit me. The first allegations was I had sexually assaulted her. But the good thing is she turned around and said, look, if you press this, I'm going to tell the whole world the whole truth, that nothing happened. So they realized, they didn't have anything on me. The next thing they did was, just to lock me up. I was thrown in custody for 90 days with no charge. At the time they had a law where they could, lock up, political activists up to 90 days without a charge. But the law was getting abused and used on anyone, they didn't like. So, I happened to be one of the victims. So I spent 90 days in custody with no charge. And after the 90 days, I was then taken to the local court. On that day, I was then charged, with stealing candy. Apparently, I had stolen candy from this girl's supermarket. This girl, her father had a supermarket. Apparently, I've stolen from her father's supermarket some candy. Candy is worth about 50 cents. That was the allegation. So that day, I get sent, I got convicted and I get sentenced to 6 cuts. Which means they had, they had to lash me and draw some blood. So I was taken down to the police station. They started hitting me, and when they were hitting me, they kept calling, referring to me as a kafir. In Afrikaans they say kafir, which is a very, very derogatory term. Which is something as most as close to calling some, it's similar as calling someone the N-word. So I got really upset, and I told them to F off. That was the biggest mistake I made, because after that, they almost killed me. They started kicking me, they in fact, chipped my front tooth. They broke my left arm, and they set a dog on me. Often people see the scar on my, on my right side, on my right eye, underneath my right eye, and people think it's from boxing. This is actually from a dog bite. The dog almost took off my eye. Now, I recall, when I was recovering in hospital, and I started thinking to myself, this is wrong. This is not justice. I need to do something about this one day. That's the day when I decided, someday I was either going to become a lawyer or a political activist. So, when I started my boxing career, when I started making money, I invested my money on education, and I would also say, my dealings with some of the promoters and managers, pretty much encouraged me, to pursue my, my law studies. Look at me today, I got 7 university degrees, for someone who started school at 9 years of age, that's a great achievement.
It is a fantastic achievement. You carried books with you, law books in between fights. So that, when you're getting ready for a fight, that's just remarkable. And what type of law do you practice now?
My main areas of practice are family law and criminal law.
Oh, so you're actually in the environment where, dealing with families and tough cases there.
Yes, I look off, family law in general, it's very emotional. In particular, when you're dealing with matters involving children, it's sad at the end, because the only people that really suffer at the end, are the children. And I always think, irrespective of how, a relationship breaks down between parties, the children shouldn't suffer because of that. The children should continue having a relationship with both parents, as long as, they're not placed at risk, and if there's something that can be done to mitigate those risks, the children should continue having a relationship with the parents, with both parents.
And I've heard that you're very, very extremely successful being an attorney and a lawyer. What separates you from most of the other lawyers that are around you in Australia?
Look, I think, well, thank you for that compliment. Look, I think there's some great lawyers out there, but look, for me, I got into law, to fight for justice. It wasn't just to make the money. Some lawyers get into law because, they're aiming to make a lot of money. And often, they don't do the right thing because all they focused on is just making money. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what really separates me from other lawyers. The fact that I'm there to get justice for my clients, not just to make money.
Yes, so that's wonderful that you're doing it for more than just making money. I think that's what a lot of people just look at in this day and age, is just the money.
Look, I do a lot of pro bono work as well, in particular for the indigenous people in Australia. For me, it's a way of giving back to the community. I feel, as lawyers, we should give back to the community, and that's my way of giving back to the community. And look, and I really appreciate and I'm grateful, for the opportunities that this country has given me, and my way of giving back, to the community is through, my work as a lawyer and providing people with pro bono work.
Yeah, that's definitely remarkable. How can people find you that are needing services for Lovemore lawyers?
Look, people can find me online. You just Google Lovemore or Lovemore lawyers. You'll find me. I'm on social media. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Twitter. Instagram. So I'm easy to find.
Okay, great. So definitely, I'm going to make sure that our viewers find you there. And talk about your book, Tough Love. What gave you the inspiration to write that book?
Look, for me, I wanted to share my story with others, because I wanted to encourage others, and inspire others and make people realize that, just because you had a bad start in life doesn't mean that's the end of it, and I'm hopefully that, someday some kid is going to pick up that book, read it, and make them realize, they still got a great future, irrespective of what they've gone through in life. I think it was worth a story sharing. I've already told you about, my upbringing in South Africa, during apartheid. I witnessed a lot of, atrocities, like I've already said. And I've already explained to you, I didn't start school till I was 9 years of age. And when I started school, I had to find a job, to pay for my school fees, to pay for my school uniform. So I would finish school, and go rake somebody's garden or wash somebody's car, work in somebody's home, so I can make money to pay for my school fees. But look at me today, like I said, the fact that I started school late didn't stop me from pursuing my education, and without bragging, I'm probably the most educated, fighter that's ever lived, and I'm more educated than some of the world leaders out there. It's a fact. But so the point is, it doesn't matter, if you've got a bad start in life, it doesn't mean, you can't pursue your career, and I always tell people, we all have dreams, but it's only those who really chase their dreams that make their dreams come true, but, if you just keep saying, I want to be a doctor one day, I want to be a lawyer one day, I want to be a world champion one day, but you don't do anything about it, it's just going to remain a dream.
Yeah, you got to put the action into work to make it happen. That's right.
That's correct. All right.
The person who set up this interview, Glenn Earnshaw, he's a big fan. He was hoping that you could maybe bless him with 2 signed photos. He had that request.
Yeah, well, tell him, you can send me a text message with he's got my phone number. Send me a text message, with an address. I'll send him some signed photos.
Yes, and I definitely want to support you. I want to purchase one of your books, Tough Love, and I want it autographed too.
Yeah, look, the book has now been published in Australia and in South Africa, and the next, we're hoping to publish it in America and the UK next. So, but definitely, if you can drop me or send me a postal address, I'll send you a signed copy. It's a gift for me.
I really appreciate that, Lovemore. Definitely. That's a lot to me. I appreciate you joining me here on the Alan and Aaron Sports Creator Show. Any last words for your fans on how to keep up with you? I know you mentioned you're also on social media. And how could they find you other than that, like your address?
I can't give my home address.
No, not your home address, your Facebook address.
Look, if you search for Lovemore, Lovemore N'dou, or you search for Lovemore Lawyers, you'll find me. Or, if you want to drop me an email, lovemore@lovemorelawyers.com, you can easily reach me. And the last thing I want to say is, look, we're all going through a tough time at the moment, with COVID. My prayers, are with those people who are, in hospital at the moment, doing it tough. And my condolences goes to, everyone out there, who's lost, a family member through COVID. Look, it's a tough time. COVID is here. We just gotta learn to live with it and, take those, necessary steps we have to take, to make sure, we don't go around spreading it. But other than that, I wish everybody, a blessed 2022.
Well, we wish you a blessed 2022. Well said. Be safe out there. Lovemore, we're going to keep in contact with you, and definitely may God bless you.
You too, my friend.
Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate you.
Cheers.
Take care. Cheers.